Number 1. In 1957, the body of a young boy, around 4 to 6 years old, was found inside a cardboard box in Philadelphia. The boy was naked, badly bruised, and no one came forward to identify him. Even after decades, no family claimed him, and the police couldn't trace where he came from. Who was this child, and why was he abandoned in such a brutal way? The mystery still haunts Philadelphia, leaving behind endless theories and heartbreak. Number 2. Over a decade ago, the remains of multiple women were found near Gilgo Beach, New York. All were believed to be sex workers, and the killer seemed to know how to hide the bodies for years without being caught. The police received strange calls, believed to be from the killer himself, taunting them. Despite advanced technology, the Long Island serial killer has never been identified, leaving families without justice. Number 3. Elizabeth Short, famously known as the Black Dahlia, was found murdered in Los Angeles in 1947, her body cut in half and drained of blood. Her face was cut into a permanent smile, and the case quickly became national news. Despite hundreds of suspects and confessions, the brutal killing of this young woman remains unsolved, becoming one of America's most chilling cold cases. Number 4. In 2004, 21-year-old Maura Murray's car was found crashed on a New Hampshire road, but she was nowhere to be found. She had emailed her professors saying she was taking a week off due to a family emergency, which wasn't true. After the crash, witnesses saw her at the scene, and then she simply vanished. Did she run away, or was she taken? No clues, no answers. Number 5. During the late 1960s and early 1970s, the Zodiac Killer terrorized Northern California, sending cryptic letters and ciphers to newspapers, while claiming responsibility for several murders. Despite his letters containing details only the killer would know, and despite one cipher being cracked recently, his true identity remains unknown. The fear he created still lingers in the communities he targeted. Number 6. In 1992, 2 teenage girls and one of their mothers disappeared from their home in Springfield, Missouri, without a trace. There was no sign of struggle, no forced entry, and their purses and cars were left behind. The disappearance of these 3 women shook the town, but no solid leads have ever emerged, leaving families waiting for answers that may never come. Number 7. Along a highway in British Columbia and into the northern United States, dozens of women, many of them indigenous, have vanished or been found murdered since the 1970s. The cases are often unsolved, with families claiming authorities ignored their pleas for help. The killer, or killers, responsible for many of these deaths remain unidentified, and the highway has become a symbol of injustice and fear. Number 8. In 1982, 7 people in the Chicago area died after taking Tylenol capsules that had been laced with potassium cyanide. The murders led to major changes in how medicine is packaged, but the person responsible for poisoning the capsules was never caught. The case remains a chilling reminder of how easily fear can spread and how a killer can vanish without a trace. Number 9. In the late 1970s, 4 children were kidnapped and murdered in Oakland County, Michigan. The killer was believed to be highly organized, leaving no forensic evidence and carefully cleaning the children's bodies before leaving them in public places. Despite years of investigation, the identity of the Oakland County child killer remains a mystery, leaving the community in fear. Number 10. Brian Schaefer was a medical student in Ohio who went out for drinks with friends in 2006. Security cameras caught him entering a bar, but he was never seen leaving, and no trace of him has been found since. How does a person vanish without a single clue, even with cameras everywhere? His case remains one of the most puzzling disappearances in the US. Number 11. During the early 1970s, 3 young girls were found raped and murdered in Rochester, New York. Each victim's first and last name started with the same letter, and their bodies were found in towns with matching initials. Police believe the pattern was intentional, but despite multiple suspects and investigations, the alphabet killer was never caught. Number 12. In 2000, 9-year-old Asha Degree left her home in North Carolina in the middle of the night during a storm. She was seen walking along the highway by passing drivers, but then she vanished. A year later, her backpack was found buried along the highway, but Asha has never been found. Why would a young girl leave her home at night, and what happened to her? Number 13. Between 1979 and 1981, around 29 African-American children and young adults were murdered in Atlanta, Georgia. A man named Wayne Williams was arrested and convicted for 2 of the adult murders, but many of the child murders remain officially unsolved. The case left a scar on the community, and families still question if the true killer was ever caught. Number 14. In 2010, 7-year-old Kyron Horman disappeared from his elementary school in Portland, Oregon, after a science fair. Despite a massive search and national attention, no clues were found and no arrests were made. The case remains open, with his family still hoping for answers about what happened to their little boy. Number 15. Though technically in Japan, the American connection lies in the international fear it sparked. In 2000, a family was brutally murdered in their Tokyo home, and the killer stayed in the house after the murders, eating food and using their bathroom before leaving. The killer's DNA was found, but he was never identified, leaving the world puzzled by this brutal crime. Number 16. In the 1930s, an unidentified serial killer known as the Mad Butcher of Kingsbury Run murdered and dismembered at least 12 victims in Cleveland, Ohio. The killer targeted the poor and homeless, leaving body parts around the city. Despite heavy police involvement, including from famed lawman Elliot Ness, the identity of the killer remains unknown. Number 17. In 1991, 4 teenage girls were murdered in an I can't believe it's yogurt shop in Austin, Texas. The shop was set on fire after the murders, destroying evidence. Multiple arrests were made over the years, but the convictions were overturned, and no one has been held accountable for the brutal crime. The families of the victims still seek justice. Number 18. Between 1971 and 1972, a serial killer known as the Freeway Phantom abducted and murdered 6 young African-American girls in Washington, D.C. The killer would leave their bodies near freeways, and in one case, he left a note with a chilling message. Despite intense investigations, the Freeway Phantom was never caught. Number 19. In 2009, the remains of 11 women were found buried on the West Mesa of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Many of the victims were involved in drugs and prostitution, and it is believed they were murdered by a serial killer operating for years. The killer, known as the West Mesa Bone Collector, has never been identified, and the desert still holds secrets. Number 20. In 1996, 6-year-old beauty queen JonBenet Ramsey was found murdered in her family's basement in Boulder, Colorado, with a ransom note found in the house. The case became a media frenzy, with suspicions on the family and theories about an intruder, but no one has ever been charged, leaving the murder of JonBenet an unsolved tragedy. Number 21. In 1912, 8 people, including 6 children, were brutally murdered with an axe while they slept in their home in Villisca, Iowa. The killer moved through the house, room by room, leaving no survivors, and then vanished without a trace. Despite multiple suspects and confessions, no one was ever convicted, and the murder house has since become a place of mystery and ghost stories in America. Number 22. In 1982, several people in Chicago died suddenly after taking Tylenol capsules laced with cyanide. The murders led to a nationwide panic, forcing changes in packaging laws across America. Despite heavy investigations and public fear, the person responsible was never found, making it one of the most chilling, unsolved poisoning cases in the country. Number 23. Kendrick Johnson, a high school student in Georgia, was found dead, rolled up inside a gym mat at his school. Authorities ruled it an accident, claiming he fell in while reaching for a shoe, but his family and many believe he was murdered. The case remains unsolved, with unanswered questions and suspicions of a cover-up. Number 24. Between 1986 and 1989, several couples were murdered along Virginia's Colonial Parkway. The victims were found in their cars, often near scenic areas, and the killer's method showed planning and familiarity with the area. Despite FBI involvement and years of investigation, the killer has never been identified, leaving the scenic parkway stained with mystery. Number 25. Lauren Spira, a student at Indiana University, disappeared after a night out with friends in 2011. Security cameras captured her last moments, but she was never seen again. Despite extensive searches and media coverage, no trace of Lauren has been found, leaving her family searching for answers. Number 26. Amber Hegeman was just 9 years old when she was abducted while riding her bike in Arlington, Texas, and found murdered days later. Her case inspired the Amber Alert system, which has saved countless children since. However, Amber's own killer was never caught, leaving a heartbreaking chapter in America's history. Number 27. Susan Powell vanished from her home in Utah in 2009, and suspicion immediately fell on her husband, Josh Powell. He later killed himself and their 2 sons in a house fire, leaving Susan's case forever clouded in tragedy. Her body has never been found, and her disappearance remains unsolved. Number 28. While Jill Dando's murder occurred in the UK, its global mystery captured American interest due to its high-profile nature. She was a beloved TV presenter shot outside her home, and despite numerous theories, the case remains unsolved, with suspicions ranging from a random attack to a professional hit. Number 29. Elisa Lam was found dead in a water tank on top of the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles after acting strangely in an elevator, caught on security footage. Her death was ruled accidental, but many believe something darker happened, with theories ranging from foul play to supernatural involvement, adding to the hotel's eerie reputation. Number 30. In 1981, in a cabin in Keddie, California, a mother, her son, and his friend were brutally murdered, while her daughter went missing, later found dead. Despite multiple suspects and evidence pointing toward foul play, no one was convicted and the murders remain unsolved, haunting the small community to this day. Number 31. Tara Calico went for a bike ride in New Mexico in 1988 and never returned home. Later, a Polaroid photo surfaced showing a young woman and a boy bound and gagged, leading many to believe it was Tara. However, her fate remains a mystery, and her disappearance is one of America's most haunting unsolved cases. Number 32. Eton Patz was 6 years old when he vanished while walking to his school bus in New York City in 1979, sparking a national search. His disappearance led to the first use of milk carton photos for missing children. Despite confessions and arrests, the full truth about what happened to Eton remains uncertain, keeping the case partially unsolved. Number 33. Marilyn Monroe's death was ruled as a probable suicide due to a drug overdose, but many believe there was more to the story. Theories of foul play involving political figures, the mafia, and suspicious circumstances around her death have fueled speculation, making it one of America's most debated unsolved mysteries. Number 34. Jennifer Kesse vanished from her Orlando home in 2006. Her car was found abandoned, and surveillance footage captured a mysterious figure near her vehicle, but their identity remains unknown. Despite widespread media coverage and private investigations, Jennifer's case remains unsolved, leaving her family in endless pain. Number 35. Although this case occurred in Portugal, its global reach and heavy coverage in America make it notable. Madeleine McCann disappeared from her family's vacation apartment, and despite global investigations, leads, and suspects, she has never been found. The case remains one of the most famous unsolved child disappearances in the world. Number 36. Between 1918 and 1919, a serial killer known as the Axeman terrorized New Orleans, breaking into homes and attacking people with an axe. The killer even sent letters taunting the police and residents, claiming he would spare those playing jazz music in their homes. Despite intense fear in the city, the Axeman was never caught. Number 37. Jimmy Hoffa, the powerful labor union leader with mafia connections, vanished in 1975 in Detroit. Despite extensive searches, tips, and theories involving organized crime, Hoffa's body was never found, and his disappearance remains one of America's most famous unsolved mysteries. Number 38. In 1971, a man using the alias D.B. Cooper hijacked a plane, demanded $200,000 in ransom, and parachuted out over the Pacific Northwest, never to be seen again. Despite one of the most extensive manhunts in FBI history, Cooper's identity and fate remain a complete mystery, making him a legendary figure in American crime history. Number 39. In 1974, the body of an unidentified woman was found in the dunes of Provincetown, Massachusetts. Her hands were missing, possibly to prevent identification, and her murder remains unsolved. Even with advancements in DNA technology, the identity of the Lady of the Dunes and her killer remain unknown. Number 40. On Christmas Eve in 1945, a fire destroyed the Sodder family home in West Virginia. 5 of the children were never found, and the parents believed they were kidnapped and that the fire was a cover-up. Decades later, sightings and mysterious clues emerged, but the fate of the Sodder children remains one of America's most puzzling, unsolved cases. Decades later, sightings and mysterious clues emerged, but the fate of the Sodder children remains one of America's most puzzling, unsolved cases.